Hello there. In this video I thought it would be a good idea for us to go through one of the past papers, and I will go through what I think would make some good answers, and also give you some tips and tricks as to why I think they'll be good answers and what the exam boards or the examiners are looking for when you do your exam paper. So this one is the June 2016 one. You may have seen it before. So what you will always get in these exam papers is you'll be given your client brief or your scenario at the beginning. Best thing I can recommend you doing is underlining all the key elements with a highlighter or a pencil. So I'm just going to do that here with this. So we know it's called Kids 5 a Day. We know it's a government-backed campaign and it's improving the eating habits of children. So you know your target audience is going to be children 5 to 11 in schools. So it's going to use 4 characters that are made of bread dough. The characters change shape and colour into the food they're promoting. So 2 of the main methods of promoting the campaign will be posters, highlight that, so you're going to be creating posters, and stickers, and they're going to be awarded to school children. So you're going to be making these for school children. You've been asked to create the visualization diagram for the stickers, okay, so not for the posters, for the stickers. So the purpose of this document for the stickers, so again you need to link it to the thing, is to provide. Oh dear, it's very big font there. Let's make it a bit smaller. Make it 14. There we go. To provide a visual look at the design for the stickers. Oops, let's spell right as well. There we go. To provide a visual look at the design for the stickers. Okay, so that's 1 mark. So you don't need to go into too much detail there. So the next thing it's asking you is 3 items that could be included on the visualization diagram. And again, still the stickers. So this now is testing what you know about the content of visualization diagrams. So again, although it's got lots of space here, it's 3 marks. So it's 1 per item. So you don't need to go into detail. So 3 things that are going to be on a visualization diagram. That's going to be images. You're going to have annotations. You could also have colour. You might also have, I'm going to put these in the comments afterwards, text. You wouldn't have, in the case of this, you wouldn't have any camera angles or movement or anything like that, because obviously this is a still static product, so you wouldn't need to worry about putting anything that you say, for example, put on a storyboard. So images, annotations, colour, text. Okay, next question. So explain one reason, so I'm going to go through and keep highlighting these bits here, why using a visualization diagram is a suitable pre-production document when creating the posters. Okay, so now it's switched very quickly here and seamlessly from the stickers to the posters. So this now is checking why you would want to create a visualization diagram. So a visualization diagram is a suitable, pre-production document for the posters, as it will give a plan of the design for the posters. I mean, you don't have to put posters twice. You could probably get rid of that and say, as it will give a plan or a rough plan of the design, or you could say look and feel for the posters, and there'll be your 2 marks. Okay, so moving on to the next question. So question 2, here we go back to the highlighter. So an animation, okay, animation here is your key. Will be used on different websites, will be produced showing the 4 main characters changing shape. What pre-production document can be used to create an animation? Now, this one involves movement. So in the process of elimination here, it's not going to be a visualization diagram because you're not looking at a static product. It could be a mood board, it could be a mind map, or it could be a storyboard. Now, you don't need to write this in the exam, you just need to choose one. So identify one pre-production document. Could be a storyboard. Okay, so yeah, just choose one of those. Right, so now you've got to back up why. Explain one reason why this is a suitable. So that's saying, okay, you put one down, may just be a guess, now why? So this is going to have, again, a different answer. So if you've chosen a mood board or mind map. The purpose of those documents is to generate ideas for the animation. Okay, and that would be your marks there. If you've chosen a storyboard, you could say it is to produce a plan of the flow of the animation, or the story of the animation, or the story of the animation. Okay, so that would be your 2 marks there. Again, you don't need to do one of these and 1 justification. So 2 marks, 1 for stating, for justifying why. So in this one, generate ideas, and then for the animation, produce a plan for the flow of the animation will be your 2nd mark. Identify 1 type of software that could be used to create it. So again, this is going to be down to what you've chosen to do. Software versus hardware. So software are apps and programs that run on your computer. Hardware is the physical items you can touch. So for example, your keyboard, your mouse, your monitor, your printer are all hardware. Software, so Photoshop, PowerPoint, Word, all of those will be software. So this is asking you about those. Now, if you were doing a mind map, it could be something like Word, could be PowerPoint. You might use something on your computer. So mind map is an app we use in my school sometimes. If you're doing a mood board, again, could be on PowerPoint, could be on Photoshop. I mean, it might be a bit of a hit and miss on that one. Okay, storyboard. So a storyboard, you again might do in PowerPoint, and you might do it in Word, you might do it in Photoshop. So only 1 mark there, so you don't need to do rings, just literally need to state it. So you don't need to do what I put here. I'm just doing it because we've got different types of examples. Okay, so question 3. So the Kids 5 a Day campaign will be supported by a number of food retailers, and their logos will be included. So this is going to be your question about copyright and legislation. So identify the legislation that applies to the use of these logos. 1 mark, so you've not got to do any justification at this point. You could put copyright, you could put trademarks. Yeah. So describe 1 step that must be taken by the publishers to allow these logos to be used. So this is saying, okay, you know what the legislation is. If you now want to use those, what would you need to do? So this is where it's asking you would need to, or you could, if you wanted to, link it back to the scenario. So Kids 5 a Day would need to seek permission from the publishers, should I say, from the publishers to use their logos. They may need to pay a fee. That would more than cover it. Okay, so seek permission from the publishers. Okay, nice easy one there. So next part of this question is asking you 1 implication for the publishers if this step is not taken. Now again, it is a 2 mark question, so it's not just going to be a 1-word answer. If Kids 5 a Day do not get permission, they may be prosecuted, i.e. taken to court by the publishers. Okay, so that's question 3 done. Question 4, what we're going to be looking at now. So the organisation running Kids 5 a Day wants to make sure that the stickers being designed will appeal to the target audience. Okay, so your target audience is 5 to 15 age. Identify 1 form of primary research. Okay, so this is a research-based question. Primary versus secondary research. Primary research is research that you create yourself, so you know it's accurate, you know it's reliable because you've done it yourself. Now the answer to this one would be it could be a survey, it could be a questionnaire that you conduct, or it could be a focus group. Typically those are your 3 primary research techniques. So again, you wouldn't need all of them, just 1 of them. Okay, second part of this question. The 4 bread dough characters change shape and colour into the food that the campaign is promoting. Describe 1 method of research using secondary sources. Okay, so this one, different from the other one. So secondary research or secondary sources are ones that already exist. So for example, I'm going to put this down here. So this is 2 marks. Kids 5 a day could research cookery websites to find suitable recipes. Kids 5 a day could look at cookery books to find suitable recipes. Okay, so those would both be secondary sources, so not ones you created or made yourself, but ones that are already in existence. So there's your answer for that one. So C. Okay, identify, quite a wordy one here, 2 categories of target audience. Okay, other than age, right, so you can't use age because obviously they're giving that to you, 5 to 11, that need to be considered when designing the characters. So this isn't about the stickers or the poster, this is about the characters. So for each category, give one reason why it should be considered. So this is testing your knowledge of your target audience. So if you've done R082, you'll be familiar with this because you need to write about target audience. So some of the things you could look at. So you can't use age. Gender is a classic one. The reason, so in this case, you're appealing to children between the ages of 5 to 11. So you need to ensure the characters are appealing to both genders. Okay, that'll be your answer for that one. What else could you look at? You could look at income. So you need to ensure that the characters represent food that can be affordable to all. Other things you could look at is interests. So the characters should represent the interests of the target age group. By that I mean you wouldn't, for example, have your characters, I don't know, sitting reading a newspaper or sitting smoking a pipe, because that's not the type of thing that children do. So you need to make sure, so for example, you'd have somebody maybe like skateboarding or like playing a game or looking really cool. So that's something you look at. So there's 3 examples there. So this one's worth 6 marks. So it's a nice way to get some marks there. So as long as you can justify why it's important. So we've stated it, given a reason, stated it, given a reason, stated it, given a reason. Okay, so blank page here. So we're now moving on to section B. These tend to be the longer questions. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here. This is the one where you get a series of images and you have to choose a number of them to create a mood board. Okay, so I'm going to actually show you a finished one later, but we will just go through the question. You've been asked to create a mood board for the campaign. Choose 6 images from the one above to create a mood board for the campaign. This is the key one here. Do not draw the images. You don't need to draw them. You just need to literally put a box to say what number you've chosen or the name of it. So you could put a box and put 18, or a box and put fruit. Your marks here. So this is a 10-mark question. So it's a big chunky one. Fitness for purpose. So are they suitable? The layout you've chosen. So don't just plonk 6 in a row somewhere. And crucially, annotation. So why have you chosen the ones you have? Okay, so this is my finished mood board for question 5. As you can see, I've done a 1-3-2 layout. Layout is important. You could do one in the middle and then around the side, but you need to be able to justify why. So I've chosen as my top one 19 girl and boy, suitable for the target audience and shows the inclusion of both genders, which is this one. It might also be worth saying why you put this at the top. So I could put I've put this at the top as it clearly shows the target audience. Okay, so the next thing I've done is I've put in the middle here the warning sign. Now I've seen it's got a traffic light signal, so I'm going to assume it's green, yellow and red, and I've mentioned that in there. Warning sign can use the red, yellow and green colours, and also it fits in with the food label guidance. That's showing your knowledge of the scenario. Then I put the other side of it, carrot juice, bright colours, orange, can be used as inspiration for the dough characters. That is this one here. and it also fits in with the colours with this warning sign. Broccoli, colours, again, I've put colours, green, links to healthy eating, and can also be used in the dough characters. So again, you could add a note here saying that you have, so in terms of your layout, placed 3 colour inspired elements together. Okay, 16, I've chosen the alphabet. It's always good to show another area rather than just the pictures. There was another picture here, but font here, but it's not there anymore. So alphabet, so I've just said could be used as a font for the posters. So again, showing I understand what we've been asked to look at, as it is large, bright and clear. And then the last one I've chosen is 9, child on the rope, which is this one here, and I have stated that it fits the healthy living and active theme and shows a happy, healthy child that might inspire the target audience. So again, I've placed that at the bottom. So you could add some more annotations here saying why you've placed them where you have, but as long as you can justify why you have chosen the images that you have chosen. And that is, in a nutshell, how you do it. So layout is important, annotations are important, and obviously your choice. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's move on to the next question. So, question 6. Kids 5 a Day will include a multimedia website aimed at improving the eating habits of children. It will provide recipes and advice in a fun and entertaining way. You have been asked to create a pre-production mind map. So again, creating those pre-production documents for the possible homepage of the website. This will be given to the web designer, and it needs to include ideas for the homepage. So on this one, structure, content and relevance. So I'm going to attempt on here, I suppose, to draw this. So 7 marks. So in the middle, you're going to have your central node. That is going to be Kids 5 a Day homepage. Okay, then coming off of this, you're going to have, and I don't know if I've got a line tool on here. Let's see what I can do. You're going to have, is this a line? Oh, straight line, lovely. Ideas. So for example, you could have another one called fonts, and this will be your first sub node. Okay, so this one you're not getting marked for annotations. You don't have to annotate and justify why, but it is going to mark you on your structure for it. Okay, you might have another section that is okay, so that's my final idea there. So you've got your main central node here, and then you've got your sub nodes coming off of it, and then more ideas. And that would be ample for the 7 marks here. But as long as you stick to the structure, you generally have the content there and the fact that it's all relevant. So you don't start talking about something completely different from that. So that would be perfectly suitable for that. So moving on now, I'm going to zoom back in on here a little bit. So you have been asked to create a work plan for the creation of the website. This requires you to look into the resources. So resources in, for example, can be people, but it can be equipment as well. So identify 2 pieces of hardware this time. So again, these are the physical items that you can touch. So you could, for example, just put keyboard and mouse, because they are perfectly acceptable hardware. But you could also put computer monitor or screen, and that would also be completely fine. So any of those would be fine. You just need 2, you just need to list them. Okay, so identify 1 type of software. So again, this is still on the website. So software, so again, this is now apps and programs that could be used to create each of the following parts of the website. So navigation buttons, you could do that, for example, in, let me get my text tool. Again, you just need to state them. Photoshop, or you could do it in Paint or Fireworks or something like that. Web pages, you could do that in Dreamweaver if you've got that at your school. You could do it in Notepad. I think you can do it in things like that. I'm trying to think what else you could use for it. I think that's probably about it. Okay, downloadable information sheets. So they could be created in Microsoft Word and then exported. They could be created in Adobe Acrobat, which is this, and turned into a PDF document. So again, either of those would be fine. Now, C, last bit of the work plan. When creating the work plan for the development website, you've been asked to build in a contingency of 2 weeks before the date. Right, so again, it's still testing your knowledge of work plans. What's the purpose of contingency? Now, your contingency is your what if it all goes wrong. So contingency is extra time built in to allow for any unexpected time delays. But so it could be, for example, you don't probably need to do this because that's probably enough, but e.g. illness or delays from suppliers, or it could be hardware failure, so if your computer breaks. So they're the sort of things there. So that's what contingency is for. So it's extra time built in. Okay, so that completes that question. Right, so this is the good old 12 marker question. Figure 2. So this is the first draft of a pre-production visualization diagram for your information sheet. So let's have a look for the information sheets about healthy eating. This document will be given to the author who will produce them. Okay, so you're going to be giving these to the author who's going to make them up. These sheets will be downloadable from the website. Okay, so that's the information you've been given. Let's have a look. So we've got kids 5 a day food tips, history, key points, and image. So that has been created as a visualization diagram to give to the author. Now, first thing you've got to think about looking at this, because it's going to be positives, it's going to be negatives. If you gave that to an author to create, do they have everything they need to be able to create it? I'll give you a couple of seconds here, but the answer is no. Okay, and that'll always be the way of these. There'll be bits of it that work, bits of it that don't. Right, things that spring to mind here. I'm going to highlight it. Good things. It has a title. Yeah. And it has a vague layout. So image, key points, history. What is it missing? There's nothing on here to talk about colour. And nothing here to talk about image. Image of what? It's got nothing. There's a lot of white space. What font? Yeah, so there's easily things there to get you started. Now, the 12-mark question often worries people because it's a lot to deal with, but it really can be broken down quite easily. So, strengths, weaknesses, areas for improvement. Now, I always say break this down into the following marks. Suitability. 2 marks. State the document, who it's for, and whether you think it's suitable. Strengths. ×2 plus justifications. So state a strength, justify it, state a strength, justify it. 4 marks. Same for the weaknesses. Weaknesses ×2 plus justification. Not maths, don't worry. 4 marks. And then lastly, improvements. State and justify. 2 marks. And there is your 12 marks. Okay, so let's go through it for this example. So the visualization diagram. Yep. Designed for the author to create the downloadable information sheets is somewhat suitable for the target audience. Okay, so then that's your first section done. One of the strengths is the addition of the title. Okay, Kids 5 Day Food Tips. Now justify that. This will be useful for the author, as they will know what to include when they are designing the final sheets. Okay, one strength, one justification. A second strength is that there is a rough layout provided. This going into the justification now. This will be helpful for the author, as they will know where to position things in the final design. Right, now that's another 4 marks done. Onto the weaknesses. However, there are some weaknesses. There is no inclusion of colour. The author will not know how things need to be coloured, or not know how elements should be coloured. Okay, so that's why it's a problem. A further weakness is that the image element is vague. The author will not know what image to put in the box. Okay, so there's your 2 weaknesses. To improve, visualization diagram, I would suggest that annotations be added to provide further clarity to the author when creating the downloadable information sheets. Okay, so it doesn't look like a lot here because obviously I've got it condensed down, but this would be your marks. Okay, so you've stated the suitability of it, so, and who it's for. You linked it to the scenario, you've mentioned the intended audience, and you've stated a general overview of the suitability. You've started with a strength, so you've mentioned the strengths in the title, you've justified why that will be useful. You've gone into the second strength, so you've stated what that is, and again you've justified why that is a strength. You've done exactly the same for the weaknesses, so no inclusion of colour, you've justified why that's a problem. You've done another weakness, which is the image element is vague, and again you've justified why that's going to be a problem. You've then stated an improvement, and you've justified why that would be improvement. And that really is all there is to it. You do not need to worry yourself. I don't know why that's come from. I'm sorry. You don't need to worry too much and write reams and reams and memes. Just be clear and concise. You need to do a balanced argument, both sides of the table. Okay, so that, now we've got to the end, is the end of the question paper. So as you can see, it's not quite so worrying, and generally they're just testing your understanding of a range of different documents and how you would use them, and your understanding of what's involved. If you've got any questions or anything that you'd like me to look at again, please leave a comment, subscribe and like this video if you would like to see more. I'm obviously here to try and help you at the end of the day. Good luck with your exam, and I'll see you for another video soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.